All right, Bob Chick back with David Baye. We are still here at the Pittsburgh show, although actually they got through pretty quick. 350 plus on the amateurs, almost 100 pros. So all in all, they're doing pretty well. But we saw 3 pro divisions here, 3 tickets to the Olympia. I think our predictions were pretty much spot on. David, give us the run through for tonight.
Well, the tickets to the Olympia, I think everybody already had their ticket. Yeah. Everybody already had their ticket. Men's physique, no surprises from our preview video last night to our prejudging wrap-up video. Mark Anthony walks away with the win. Again, close was Jason Poston. Michael Anderson in 3rd place. As we had stated before, Michael got 2nd behind Jason in Orlando just a few weeks ago. So not really a lot of surprises in the men's physique division. We don't know who the top 5 was. They just announced the top 3 here tonight. I think it's safe to assume that Tyler Anderson and Anton Antipov.
Yeah. From the judges, from the call-outs this morning, that would probably seem like a good bet.
Right, our 4th and 5. So Mark Anthony obviously already had his Olympia qualification from winning. Jason Poston already has his Olympia qualification, but Tyler Anderson does as well for winning the show. But for Michael Anderson and for Anton, definitely a good opportunity for them to rack up some points.
All right, on to the figure pros. Once again, I think it was pretty spot on. I mean, judges did a great job, very good competition. At the end, did they get it right?
Yeah, I think so. I think absolutely they did. We knew going in that Allison and Kamala were going to be pushing for the top 2 spots, which they were in. Kamala getting the win, Allison Frann taking 2nd place, and Andrea Cantoni in 3rd. So, again, not a lot of surprises here.
Well, the only surprise there, obviously, the emergence of Allison Frann, always a perennial top 5 finisher, but really established herself, making some change, filling out her frame a little bit more, and it really paid off with the judges.
Yeah, when the judges come straight out and say, hey, you're too lean, you need to soften up a little bit, some people just kind of let that sort of advice go in one ear and out the other and do what they think works best for them. She obviously took the advice of the judges, came in a little bit softer, and was awarded with a 2nd place finish. So definitely a good spot for her.
All right, well, the Bikini pros wrapping things up as the IFBB went here tonight. Now, to me, that was a little bit of a surprise. I didn't see that one coming. I would have guessed it probably one way or the other, but not actually what the final results were, David.
Yeah, I don't know that Cicherillo was at her absolute best. She looked like she might have been a little bit off from where we saw her at the Arnold and the Olympia. I thought Stacy looked fantastic, and Amanda Latona, as always, looked great.
Stacy Alexander in 2nd, Amanda, of course, in 3rd. I honestly could have had that flip-flopped around, but my question to you is, what's my girl Janet Leo have to do to improve? I mean, the girl's gorgeous.
I don't know. I look at her and obviously broken record time for the guys at MD. I look at her and I think absolute perfection. So I don't know if it's just you'd like to think that regardless of whether it was her first year competing or she was a veteran, whoever shows up the best that day on stage is deserving of the win. Sure. I thought Janet probably was today. I'm sure the judges will have some assessments for her as to what she needs to do, but she's close to where she needs to be, that's for sure. And as a rookie in the IFBB, sure, to have gotten 7th at the Arnold, won a pro show already, and I'm assuming she took 4th in a lineup that where the top 3 girls are all top 10 finishers from the Olympia. It's definitely nothing for her to not be proud of, but again, I would have liked to have seen her in the top spot.
In a stacked deck, David, when you consider some of the names that did not make the top 3, and for that we don't know really the other 4 and 5, but anybody from Lacey DeLuca to Sarah LeBlanc, I mean, you had some names in there. Again, that's how tough the competition was here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Sarah won in Orlando 2 weeks ago, and she's
won 2 back-to-back, I believe.
Yeah, it doesn't look like she'll be in the top 5. She was the 1st and the 2nd call-out, and I think there was 5 or 6 in the 1st call-out. So at best, she's looking at 6th place, coming off of 2 wins. So I don't know that she was off her top form. I think it was just more of a case that this was a really tough show.
Yeah, fair assessment. Well, they're still wrapping things up, as you see behind us. Almost done here, but you know what? The IFBB train continues on its path to the Olympia. The
guest posers.
Oh, geez, yeah. Where am I? Whoa. And you know what? I'd be remiss, David, if I didn't use that phrase once again. Yeah, the guest posers. I mean, we can't get by that. I think that the big talk, I mean, Phil obviously looked good. Kai was very entertaining, to say the least. Everybody else branches a week out of a show, and we'll get into that in a second. Victor Martinez in there, Dexter the Blade, of course, being I think what the big conversation was Big Rami. At 325 pounds out there was enormous, but in shape.
Yeah, the Rami story I think is two-sided. If he's doing the New York Pro in a couple weeks, I don't know, and I know he's battled some illnesses. To me, he does not look 2 weeks out from a show at all.
Yeah, I'm not so sure we're going to see that. And his coach, Dennis James, of course, will make that determination. He did lose a little training time. Dennis was very upfront with that. I personally don't think he's going to try to whittle him down in time for New York. No. But I'm just looking at it from an Olympia standpoint. Bro, that's something, man.
He's absolutely huge. I mean, Kai Green is just well known as being the biggest pro as far as all year round. And Rami went toe-to-toe with Kai in a bunch of poses. You guys will see that video up on MD. His thighs, in my opinion, they're probably the biggest that I've ever seen on a pro.
Well, let's put things in perspective, all right? If you're 290 pounds, which in bodybuilding terminology is ridiculous, huge. He's 40 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah, I mean he's outweighing everybody by a pretty good handful. So he's absolutely massive, and for as big as he is, he still has good shape. You know, he's not one of these guys who he's just a mass monster. And
he's got abs, bro.
Yeah, he doesn't have a sloppy physique. He still has a relatively small waist for how big he is, broad shoulders. I try to find a weakness on the guy. I don't think you can find a weakness on him. So I think, you know, moving forward and talking about the Olympia, if he shows up razor sharp, I can't fathom how he would not be a top 5 or 6 guy at the Olympia. And and realistically, I think he'll be pushing those top 3 spots.
So. Well, the other guys look good, and like I said, Branch probably in the best condition of anybody, of course, but I want to get into that now, David. Of course, like I said, the IFBB train continues on to the journey to the Olympia, of course, in Las Vegas, Nevada, but Branch Warren still has to qualify. He'll be in Dallas, his own backyard. That's an advantage he doesn't normally get. Obviously, a few of the pros can actually compete where they're from and stuff, but he's going to be the odds-on favorite. Of course, Kuklo not opting not to do the show there. I think a smart move there on Hanny Rambod's part to pull him out of that. You know, get him up for the Olympia. Obviously, get him some training and some rest time. So Branch Warren putting it on the line. He needs a win bad.
He does need a win bad. I mean, this is one of the first years that we've seen in a while where Branch has to do a smaller show to qualify for the Olympia, and he's not, you know, with all the up-and-comers that we've been seeing, he's not necessarily a shoe-in for a win at any show. Obviously, at one of your smaller shows, he's going to be a top 5, top 3 guy. I can't see him not placing in the top 3 down in Dallas. I haven't seen a lineup for Dallas. Yeah. So regardless of what show Branch enters, you have to say he's going to be a favorite, again, especially going into a smaller show. I don't know who's going to show up. You know, it would be interesting if Steve decided to stay in the lineup. Sure. You know, a couple of weeks ago when Justin Compton won Orlando, he talked about possibly doing Dallas. I think he dropped that idea. That would have been interesting. But you know, the Dallas-Orlando is going to be a good lineup, and I think for as good as Branch is, he's still probably going to have his hands full with a couple of guys.
Well, 212 also, another former champion, Guy Cisternino, former winner of that event, also back there. So he'll be defending that title, of course, and he's looking for that Olympia qualification as well.
Yeah, I saw a guy this morning. We were in the same hotel. Guy's trainer, Chris Aceto, wanted some pictures, so I went up, snapped some shots of Guy. He looks absolutely incredible. You know, 2 weeks out, or excuse me, at a week out, his conditioning is razor sharp. He's dry. Everything is spot on. So expect to see one hell of a Guy Cisternino down in Dallas.
Well, so we're getting into the heat of season now. Dallas coming up this week. Of course, we'll have full coverage there right here at MD, and then of course we'll move on. The New York Pro the week after that. Will Big Rami be there? I don't know. None of us really know yet. Expect probably Dennis James. But I tell you what, the lineup will definitely be a good one. Of course, Steve Weinberger, of course, always putting a great event on there, and it'll be loaded up with a lot of pros. So we're really getting into the thick of things now. But the point system, of course, definitely going to be coming into play as we keep moving on. Big question is going to be looming. Can Branch Warren get the qualification there, or is he going to have to point himself to the Olympia? We're going to see it all unfold. We're going to have full coverage, folks, so stay tuned right here at MD. Of course, the boards will be lighting up this week with the predictions. We will have a lineup that we will produce, of course, this week as soon as we get it on Monday, so we'll have that up and for you. So that wraps it up here in Pittsburgh. For David Baye, this is Bob Chick. We'll catch you next week from Dallas.